It's the Abba Podcast. Let's go.
And the next guest on the podcast, Jays is already a friend of the podcast, Paul Nasari. How you going, champ?
I'm good, thanks, Abbas. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. How's your day been? How's things going? We had a bit of technical difficulties coming on.
No, we didn't. Don't tell them that. Comes to computers.
Mate, make it two of us, champ. I am not the most technical guy on the face of planet Earth. But we're here to talk boxing. Paul, you watch your fights yesterday just as soon as he gets over the line.
Yeah, what a good fight, eh? It was a good fight. He won just about every round, didn't he?
Yeah, look, he put on a clinic, and Justice, I mean, we came to expect that. I mean, the broadcasters wanted us to believe that Goodwill had more of a chance than he probably did. You're a promoter, Paul. Why did it take him 30 minutes to walk out, champ?
Don't know, mate. They're on a TV schedule there. It's a shame that's got to happen. I mean, Jeff Fennick was saying that during the commentary, he's turned up a bit late and he wasn't even getting bandaged up until later on. I don't know why they just can't just go with the flow. I don't know what happened there. It's
a bit of a crazy one because it's on pay-per-view, champ. And I know Hooney's team went to Goodwill's team and they go, listen, we're going to get it on. And he's like, nah, I'm sticking to the 9:30 schedule.
Yeah.
It gets like that with boxing, huh?
It does. These things happen.
Mate, Paul, talk to us. Australian Hall of Faming, boxing Hall of Famer you are. You've been there, done that, promoted. Talk to us about the love of boxing, how you got into boxing and why you're so passionate.
Mate, I'll tell you how I got into promoting boxing. There was a couple of reasons why. God, my old trainer would be rolling in his grave if he knew I was a promoter now. He reckons they never paid me enough back in the day.
And I agree, they probably didn't.
Mate, it's a big challenge, promoting. I wasn't seeing my son. I wasn't seeing him, and I thought, I'm going to get into this. It'll take me mind off him. Yeah. And it keeps your mind busy. And another reason why I took up promoting, I was training his fighter, Danny Price. He's a local boy. I've known him since he was a kid. And he sold a heap of tickets one fight, and the fight got cancelled, and there was a lot of ticket money to give back. And I thought, geez, I could have promoted that myself instead of getting buggered around by this other promoter. And it was at Club Punch Bowl. And there was a couple of reasons why. I like to keep busy, and it does keep your mind busy promoting. Like I got a show on the 2nd of July and an amateur show on the 3rd of July, and my whole mind is just on this week, that weekend. Everything I do now, up until them 2 dates, is all for these 2 promotions I've got on the weekend.
Yeah, a lot of work, blood, sweat, and tears. I've been at one of the events, and hopefully we're looking to come out in the second one. Talk to us about your passion for boxing, though, Paul, because you've been there, done that, dug through the trenches. You fought in your hometown of Bankstown. You fought in Revesby. You fought in Manila. You've been under great coaches. You know, talk to us about getting in the ring and what pursued your passion for such a sport.
Mate, there's a lot of reasons there. It's a tough old game. You brought up Manila. God, what a fight that was. I'm lucky to be alive, mate. Honestly, I've ended up in hospital over there. Manny Pacquiao fought on the undercard. 1996 it was on ESPN. I got hit with a right in the second round, and it felt like I got hit with a piece of 4x2, it did. It wasn't a glove, and I could never prove it. The Filipinos, I'll say they are cheats over there, mate, and I don't mind saying it because I've only found out 2 Februaries ago off a Filipino trainer that the guy I fought, Ernie Lesnar, back in 1996, he killed a bloke 2 fights before me with lacing up the gloves. And
wow.
I only found out this 2 years ago. And this Filipino trainer, who I won't name, he said, we always wondered why you took that fight, Nasari. I said, mate, if I knew he killed a bloke 2 fights before me, I would never have taken the fight. And that's what they try and do to you over there, mate.
Mate, it's crazy the world of boxing. So now I can understand and appreciate why you got into promoting a bit more. So you're talking, there's a lot, obviously there's a lot of dodginess. You got promoters that want a piece of the pie. They're not paying their fighters. Like you said, your old trainer would believe what you're doing because you never got paid. So you're in it for the right reasons to make sure this doesn't happen.
Well, I realise now it is a tough game promoting. It is a tough game. I mean, I don't get any sponsorship money and TV money. I've got to do it out of tickets. It's a tough old game. People think I'm mad, but maybe I just love the amateur boxing, and it doesn't cost so much. And I love bringing these amateur fighters through because they're going to be tomorrow's pro fighters. And don't I do a lot of amateur shows?
Yeah, mate. You love the grassroots. You love getting in there, developing these fighters. You know, you've had Bilal Akaway developed. George Kambosos was under your wing for a certain period of time. And it's always good probably to see them flourish and go on and do big and great things, as we saw George not too long ago. How do you feel seeing all that? Because they've gone from their amateurs all the way to the pros and all the way to all championship fights.
It's great to see. Connor Ben,
Yeah.
Brian Harvest all had their first amateur fights at Club Punch Bowl under neutral corner. It's great to see. It really is. I love it. I love seeing them flourish. She said the word move on and, go on for bigger and better things. George will come back. George Kambosos, he'll come back, mate.
Mate, most definitely. So talk to us about, as a boxing fanatic, Paul, how are you? Did you get in it? Are you up? Are you throwing them? What's going on when you're watching a fight? When you're...
And still throwing, but if I get hit, I'll go to pieces, mate.
Oh, mate, make that two of us. I wasn't built to get hit, Paul. I say a lot of things. Others just don't touch me. Don't attack me.
That's, you're in the boxing ring. There's no one else. You're not in a footy side or soccer team. There's no one else that can help you. It's just that adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
It's an adrenaline rush. It's like no other. You're in there. You got to say you are the boss when you jump in that boxing ring, and you got to be ready. I love what the great Sugar Ray Leonard said. You got to have the 3 Ds to be a fighter: dedication, determination, and the desire to want to do it. That means get up and do your running every morning, go to training, put your body through the mill, what it needs to be done to go through and be a fighter.
Mate, 100%. And unless you've been there, done that, and you wouldn't understand what it is and you have an appreciation. I played football for most of my junior life. So I always thought I was a tough guy, to be real. And it wasn't until I got into martial arts. I did jiu-jitsu, I did a bit of MMA, some Muay Thai, and then I competed as well. It's like, it's a totally different beast. You think you're something, you get humbled real quick. And if you haven't put in the Ks and the runs and you've taken any shortcuts, believe you me, it's going to come fight night, because you're banking on something. Real appreciation for these fighters. And it bothers me when people watch and disrespect, or people have comments otherwise because they haven't done it. Don't talk.
No shortage of them, mate. Until you've done it, they don't understand. The keyboard warriors, mate. I got the keyboard right there, and oh God, there's a lot of keyboard warriors around, but you don't let them get to you.
100%. So talk to us, Paul. We've come off a couple of big cards: George Kambosos, Devin Haney. It was really well spoken about. You had George on your radio show before the fight. Talk to us after the event. How did you see it? What do you feel George has got to do in the rematch? I'm hearing it's about December.
Is he going to give him a rematch? That's what I want to know first.
So what I know contractually, George has got a clause. If Haney doesn't, I think he's going to have to relinquish and go up in weight. So there's a possibility he doesn't fight Haney, but his next fight contractually is definitely for the belt.
Yeah, it's only fair that Haney gives him a shot back at it, because George gave him a shot, all 5 belts. And he can, he's looking at Lomachenko now. He might just take that fight, but it is a low call, but he's got every right to move on and make his own decision. But, he should give George gave him an opportunity. He should give him the opportunity back. I don't know what's going on. Is it, has he said he's going to fight George yet? Is the rematch on?
Look, as soon as he touched down in the States, he started saying, like what you said, he was looking at the Lomos, he's looking at your Javonte Davises, etc. But from what I know, what a contract says, and what boxing contracts are more than me, apparently the rematch clause is there unless he vacates, and then even so, if he vacates, George is fighting for the belt.
Yeah, okay, well, that'd be good. But I thought George asked me about what George, thought he could have got up on him more and counted that left jab. He was just, the referee didn't help, but I'm not making up excuses for George. He could have got underneath that left jab with a straight right, left rip, and he was away, a straight left underneath. But easier said than done. He should have got up and counted that left jab.
Yeah.
He should have grabbed him. But the ref was sort of, look, I don't want to say it because it sounds like I'm sticking up for George, but the ref didn't help the cause either. But I just think George next time he's got to get in there and counter that left jab more. And once George gets in there, say he gets underneath that straight left with a straight right of his own and left rip, then he's away. He's away, then he can work that body, come over the top. And he's awesome when he's in there working away underneath and over the top. He didn't get the chance to do it. He didn't give him that. he didn't give himself that opportunity to do it.
Yeah, and look, a lot of credit's got to go to Devin Haney because he said pre-fight that he was going to take that ability away from him. Where I was a bit disappointed, I kind of agree with Jeff Fennick. The corner didn't have enough oomph in them to tell him what he's got to be doing. It seemed like plan B, C, D wasn't being executed because the corner wasn't calling for it. So
plan B was there.
No, it bothered me as well, and it bothered me immensely because I keep it 100, and I'm not here on anyone's playbook to say anything or to push anyone down. But when the corner told him after the fight that he had more output and it was a closer fight than what they thought, you misinformed George and you sent him down the barrel of getting persecuted by the media there because he sounded silly, the poor fella, and it wasn't his fault. It was the person who told him.
Yeah, true that.
And there's a lot of yes people around, especially at that level. I couldn't imagine. And you got to be careful who you have in your corner and what advice you're getting, because, mate, as you said, the internet these days is ruthless. You just don't want to be exposed like
that. No, you don't. Exactly. But, George will go a lot better next time if he does get the rematch, but I'm just not sure what's going on there yet.
Yeah, same. But something that I do know is he's one of the hardest, if not the hardest, boxing athletes we have in this country. He hit the gym running from Mondays, doing 2-3 sessions. He's back on it, and I'm sure he'll get back there as soon as possible. Paul, you were in France, mate. Talk to us. What happened in France, champ? I'm checking in.
Mate, France was unbelievable. I was going down to Melbourne. I was booked to go watch George, and Justin Kennedy, he's the supervisor for the IBO in Australia. He said, "You want to come along? Come along where? Melbourne? Where? What state?" He said, "France." He said, he said, "Paris." I went, yeah, I'm coming. Just like that, I was going. It was great. 4 nights, it was great. I couldn't believe it. There was 2 world title fights on, and what a buzz. What a buzz. It was just, I just kept saying to myself, I can't believe I'm in Paris. It was unbelievable.
Talk to us. How do the French do it, champ? Like, how do they promote the fights?
Geez, they put on a good show. They put on a good spread. I got a lot of ideas out of it. It was an immaculate show. The fights, you know what? The fights, they weren't as good as I thought they would have been, but still, it was a great show. It really was. It was just great to be there. Just the entertainment outside the ring, and I met a lot of new officials, Filipino, Thai officials from the WBO. I met some French and IBO officials from England as well. They were great. It was great to meet them. I just, did a bit of networking as well. And I met the promoter. Don't ask me to say his name. What a nice fella he was.
Right.
He said, "He there, fellow promoter," and we just had a quick chat. I couldn't understand him. He couldn't understand me, but fucking talking anyway.
Right. The world of boxing takes it to different places. So what do you take from France? What do France do different to the States? Because I'm not familiar with the French scene. Absolutely.
They just love their boxing over there. They got some good fighters over there you haven't heard of. But look, it's all at the end of the day, no matter how much entertainment you have outside of the ring or at a boxing event, people will walk out of a boxing event remembering what sort of fights they were in that square circle. That's what they'll remember.
Yeah, no, 100%. We've got another guest coming. What's going on? We're getting hacked, Paul.
We're getting hacked. Who by?
Who's Chloe?
That's my daughter.
Oh, mate, we're getting. She wants in on the episode, champ. Oh, we've got rid of her. Chloe, what's going on? Yeah, no, she was joining in. I think might have been some technical difficulties.
Chloe, who, mate? Chloe, not.
I got no idea. I rejected the invite, and I go, "See you later, Chloe. What are we doing?"
It's either my little girl Chloe, or it could be even Chloe Gretsch.
Oh, maybe. Oh, we should have let him. We should have seen who's coming on. So, they're gone. Chloe, if you're listening or you tune in, come back on. We'll let you on this time. We just.
I thought no one could hack into your interviews, buddy. What's going on?
Champion, listen, the Nasaris have done it to the J. It's never been done before. It's been done today, though. I don't know what happened. So talk to us, Paul. Talk to us about the passion of putting on shows. I know you like the West. Talk to us about the next show coming, the motivation, and the last show that had come. You like the podcast or what, champ? How'd we go?
A good one. That was great. you're full of energy, mate. I nearly got you in the ring there to fight one of the guys. You were that pumped up. But how good were the fights? They were bloody great fights,
Mate,
weren't they?
from pillar to post, from as soon as the card started, I missed the amateurs. I must concede. I came for the main card. Man, it was slugfest from the heavyweights. Jeez, they didn't leave anything.
It was unbelievable. Yet the action. There were 7 pro fights, and they were all action.
Bro, they over-delivered. I was so impressed.
It was great. It was a good night of boxing. I won't forget that one.
Most definitely. I was going to come after the judges, though. The New South Wales lightweight title. How that was a draw is beyond me.
Who do you reckon won that one? Let us hear right here on your podcast.
Mate, I thought it was a master. It was a clinic he put on. The Carr, is that his name?
Daniel Carr, yeah.
Daniel Carr put on an absolute clinic. The other bloke was peppered with shots. I thought, okay, he was coming forward, but he was countering him. He was hitting him on the outside. Anytime he came in, he had it known. Carr did tire towards the end, but I don't feel that he lost many rounds. I was so surprised. I came down getting ready to interview Carr. I heard draw. I'm like, robbery.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're going to get it on again on the 2nd of July. Unfortunately, Emmett Brown's out injured. And then I had Alex Lule take his place. And now Alex Lule's out injured. So there's no state title this time, but they will get it on again down the track, and I can assure you of that.
Yeah, look, nothing against the, what was his name, Emmett Brown?
Yeah, good little fight.
He came to fight, don't get me wrong, but
Sure.
he was on the, it seemed like it was like I was on the live, had a couple of thousand on, and everyone was like getting ready for Daniel, and everyone cried, Vic, like robbery.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got in the ring, and both coaches are going at it, and I'm like, yeah, we'll plead the 5th now. And
I was right there, mate. There was a few unsavoury words, wasn't there, in the centre ring there, but that's boxing, in it. Geez. All you can say is rematch, and I didn't want to say it too loud, but that's what's going to happen down the track. No matter what show it's on, mate, hope it's on mine, but what a great fight they put on TV or whatever, mate. They're 2 good little fighters.
100%. I love that fight. And what was the fight on night for you, Paul? What was your favourite night from the last card?
They're all good fights. I couldn't pick one. I actually sat down and watched the fight. I don't get to sit down much. And Paulie Fennick from the house was there, and he said, come and sit down, mate. He said, you're running around too much. Relax. And with them words, I sat down with him and watched one of the fights. It was actually Jason Fawcett and the other little fella, Anton Markovic. What a good fight that was.
Yeah. Wow. There was a lot of props of Anton coming into it. Everyone was telling me how good this young prospect is, which he still is. And they were very confident. I interviewed the corner before the fight. Didn't make the vlog, but they'll call it a knockout. And they're just saying it's just a matter of time. And boy, the other fella came and he put on a clinic, and he had a big crowd behind him too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So what I do is I live stream my shows through Smithy's TV.
Yeah. Smithy's was out here.
Cost me about $8,000 to do it. So all these sponsors you see popping up on my Facebook and Instagram, they're sponsors putting towards this $8,000 so I can showcase these fighters. That's what I've got to do.
100%.
I've got to do to showcase these fighters, and Smithies.tv do a marvellous job too.
So talk to us. What is the viewership like on Smithies? Like is it just as much as the crowd? Because the crowd is chock-a-blocker throughout the whole night. How successful is Smithies?
It's reached over 5,000, 6,000 people the last show, which is great.
That's beautiful. That's great.
I mean, live streaming's the way to go, especially if you can get a good streamer mob like Smithies.tv. They do a great job.
Absolute professionals, yeah. And you had great Barry Michael in the commentary booth as well.
Yeah, well, Barry Michael and John Harker's going to be there. Now, my next show, we're going to have 3 Hall of Famers at the Reesby Workers Club. Jeff Fennick, Wayne McCulloch, can you believe? Bantamweight WBC champion, he's going to be there, and Barry Michael in the commentary box. Hopefully I can get Jeff Fennick doing a bit of commentary. So I'll have 3 Hall of Famers there with John Harker doing a commentary.
Mate, what are you competing against main event now, Paul?
Oh, just do what I've got to do, mate. It's all boxing at the end of the day, mate. I promote amateur boxing. I bring these kids through. Good on. Do what you got to do.
Mate, you're an absolute champion, Paul. And you know what I like about you in respect? You're at every show as well. So you support other people's shows and you make sure that you're out there. And I think it benefits them more so that you're out there because you're a boxing purist.
Mate, when you've been an amateur and a professional boxer yourself, you're just a fan of it. No matter who puts on a show, you just go along and watch. But mate, at the end of the day, it's all boxing, isn't it?
100%.
And my next show, I've got to tell you this, I'm going to do a press conference, my next show. Just going to do one. No big names on it, but I want to showcase these fighters. I'm going to do it at the Reesby Workers Club on the Monday in the lead up, the 27th of June.
Yeah.
You know, Brendan Smith has told me a couple of times, just do a press conference. And after going to France and seeing their press conference, I'm just going to do one. I'm going to do it in the auditorium on the Monday night. Just still checking to see what fighters are available at 6:37 p.m. on that Monday. And we're just going to go ahead and do it. Rick Powell's going to MC it.
Yeah.
And the Wayne McCulloch will be there as well. I've got to see if Jeff Fennick will be around. Barry Michael will arrive on the Thursday or the Friday. But, yeah, going to do a press conference at the Reesby Workers Club and just showcase these fighters because you're going to hear about them later.
100%. And I feel the experience and exposure points is very important for these fighters because once they get there, they're used to it because Paul Nasari, Neutral Corner, set us up with this.
Mate, these fighters deserve to be showcased no matter where they are, and they'll go on and get on the bigger stage, and that good on them. And I'll just look on and go, how good's that? I'm on a Neutral Corner show or whatever show. It's just being an ex-boxer, mate, it's a passion to see someone move on. Like this Daniel Carr, I matched him up that many times in the amateurs. He had a record of about 20 and 20, 20 wins, 20 losses. He fought anybody and everybody, him and his brother. He's just one example.
Yeah.
And I was a title shot. He started off slow as a pro. I think he was 1-3, 1-5, but now he's 4-7, I think. And he'll just get better and better. And because this is one job I love about being a promoter, I can get these kids a shot at a title. You know, I can get them a shot. They deserve it. And when they win it and get that belt wrapped around, I just go, you little beauty. They deserve it.
100%. How involved do you feel when you see these guys who've come up the ranks and they do well? How proud are you, Paul?
I'm very proud, mate. I just sit back and look on and go, you little beauty. You know, I just love seeing it. I've been a fighter myself. I know that feeling. It's a passion that grabs me. It's happening. There was another guy there called Brendan Saunders from Tamworth. He won an Aussie lightweight title. You would have never fought a kid of his calibre. He won it, mate. He won an Australian lightweight title on my show, and I put the belt around him, and I felt so happy for this kid.
You loved it. Aye.
I thought I was going to win an Aussie lightweight title, so you did.
Mate, that's why I love the passion that comes from you. That's why we get along so well, because I feel that you're genuinely in it for the right reasons to get these kids on that platform, to give them what they deserve, because you understand what it feels to be in the trenches, how lonely and tough the sport is.
I know what it's like, mate. I've ended up in hospital, mate, bloody after a fight. I thought I was going to bloody die over a bloody fight, all for 1,500 US in the Philippines. Mate, I know what it's like. There's another guy there, the pie chucker from Narrabeen. He won a super middleweight title on one of my shows. He said, I'm never going to do any better than that. And he give it away. You know, and that makes me feel very good. It really does. It's a great feeling. It's better than getting the bloody belt wrapped around myself sometimes, seeing half a dozen kids who you've seen as an amateur, who you've promoted, then you promote them as a pro. It's a great feeling. It's a feeling like no other. It really is.
No, you're an absolute champ. So talk to us, Paul. What else do you do in boxing? I know you got the boxer size. Talk to us about the training and the youngsters coming through the ranks and how many fighters are you actually training under your staple?
I just train kids. Kids will listen. A lot of older kids, once they get they don't want to listen. I do the boxer size. That's just for fitness. It's not boxing. And I've done 3 corporate shows where I just train up people. I call it Fight Mania. I do want to do one again, but I'm involved with the real stuff, amateur and pro boxing. But I do want to do this corporate stuff again because I've had about 6 guys fighting these corporate shows I did. As I said, I call it Fight Mania. I haven't done it for about 10 years. Josh King and Ryan Waters, they know how to run them shows. They do them all the time. And Ryan Waters has said to me a couple of times, I don't know why you just don't do them, Paul. And I know what he means. But these guys that used to come to my boxer size have got in there, done boxing training for 10 weeks full on, and they've got 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 18 weeks, 20 weeks, 30 weeks, 40 weeks, 50 weeks, 60 weeks, 70 weeks, 80 weeks, 90 weeks, 100 weeks, 150 weeks, 200 weeks, 300 weeks, 400 weeks, 500 weeks, 600 weeks, 700 weeks, 800 weeks, 900 weeks, 1000 weeks, 2000 weeks, 3000 weeks, 4000 weeks, 5000 weeks, 6000 weeks, 7000 weeks, 8000 weeks, 9000 weeks, 100 weeks, 120 weeks, 130 weeks, 140 weeks, 150 weeks, 160 weeks, 170 weeks, 180 weeks, 190 weeks, 191 weeks, 192 weeks, 193 weeks, 194 weeks, 195 weeks, 196 weeks, 197 weeks, 198 weeks, 199 weeks, 100 weeks, 101 weeks, and they couldn't believe the difference. They go, oh, that boxer size is nothing compared to jumping in the ring. I said, yeah, well, you look good on the pads when you hit them and that. Yeah, no one's trying to hit your back, so you know what it's like now. And these guys, it's just a one-off thing. They won't go on with it. You know, they just feel that adrenaline rush under the Olympic rules through 2-minute rounds, walk into the ring, and a lot of them won't do it again. It's just a one-off thing.
But it's something that you've afforded an experience that they won't ever forget.
Yeah, right, yeah. I do want to get involved in that again, and I will. But there's only one of me. I wish there was 10 of me.
Mate, life of a promoter is tough. I've never met a promoter that says there's enough hours of time in a day because there's so much things to do. Give us an insight as to what responsibilities you got to do to get a show happening.
Mate, you got to get all the fighters registered. I've spent 2 hours in front of my computer tonight. I've got 11 fights. That's 22 fighters. I'm 2 weeks out this Saturday from the fight. Out of 22 fighters, there's only 7 registered. 7 registered.
So how hard and tough is it to register? So what's the process of registration?
Mate, without going in it too much, it's a combat sports. It's just the system they got. It just doesn't help promoters. Without going into it too much,
yep.
System that just doesn't help promoters and trainers and fighter get registered like that. It's got to change. It's got to change, and plus the fighters as well. That if an oil reads out of place, they won't get registered. It doesn't register with the combat sports, and you keep telling them I need the correct spelling. Some of the Lebanese fighters and the Tongan fighters, I've got to ask them, what's your date of birth? What's your name on your birth certificate? Because you've obviously registered under that name. And the trainer gives you a name and it's not their correct name. And it takes another week or 2 or 3 weeks for it to come round again till you finally get it right. There's a lot of wasted time. You got to hope they get registered. You got to hope they turn up and have a go. Sell enough tickets. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about it and get me put reminders in my phone what I got to do. It's never ending, and you got to love doing it. I suppose if you didn't, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of tough work. Paul, talk to us about the relationships that you've developed in boxing. Johnny Lewis and Jeff Fennick, just to name a few. How's your relationships with these types of people? What impact have they had on your life?
Oh, Jeff helped me out a lot with my boxing career back in the day. I boxed him day in, day out. He was great to box with, Jeff. I remember one afternoon being up the gym and a couple of amateurs turned up and they wanted to box. Yeah, I'll box them. Like these days, there's fighters out there that have won some pissy regional title and they're too good to spar anybody. But Jeff Fennick, mate, he lined them up and he boxed them all, you know. And every time I see him, Johnny Lewis, I was involved with Johnny for 2 fights back in the day. I'm a better man for the experience. It was just great to be involved with him. I boxed Costa day in, day out. I think Timmy used to be in a pram with his mum while I was bloody boxing his dad. I did quite a lot of rounds with him, and so did a lot of Australian good fighters. Eddie Yen, Justin Rousewell, Jason Lang, just to name a few. We all jumped in with him. Azuma Nelson come out here for the Wayne Laporte fight. I went and boxed Azuma Nelson 6 rounds, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 24 rounds with him. I'm lucky to be alive, mate. He nearly killed me. But I kept going back for more. He asked me to come back and I got a big head, Abbas.
You're being humble, Paul.
And he said, I want him, come back again. And I went, big head, mate.
Mate, Paul, listen, champ. You're underselling yourself, mate. Continuously done so many rounds against so many high caliber fighters. You have to have some oomph in you. And each time I see you throwing them, I'm like, Paul Nasari, stay away. You're a dangerous man. Look at him go.
And I remember I was having my second professional fight against Les Fear. It was on a Foxtel, a Sky Channel show. Bill Morty and Craig Peavy and Renato Cornett were the main event. And as soon as my fight was over, my trainer would say, let's go. He said to me, I want you to watch this main event, Peavy and Cornett, because you're going to fight these guys one day. I went, no. He said, you'll fight them one day. So I'm going to go in the car and have a sleep. I said, will you wait for me that long? He said, just watch this main event because you'll fight them guys. He must have had faith in me. So anyway, I watched the fight. I watched it closely, and I ended up fighting one of them guys, Craig Peavy, years later, and I knocked him out in the 6th. And I ended up doing a lot of rounds with Renato Cornett. And they were great. They were great fighters, the spar back in the day. Joey Glover, another great little amateur fighter. Geez, I did a lot of rounds with him. Eddie Unan. Oh, what a good little fighter he was. I did a lot of rounds with these guys back in the amateur days. Shannon Taylor, Justin Rouseville, all these guys I boxed, as well as the Zuma Nelsons, Jeff Fenix and Costa Zeus. Oh, yeah.
Mate, who's Paul Nasari? You've done it all when it comes to boxing. And now you're a promoter, neutral corner. How did that come about, champ? Where'd the name come from? What was the inspiration behind the name of the promotion?
I just like to be neutral. I get the sheds, and on BoxRec they have the A side down the left. No, it doesn't matter to me. It does not matter to me who is down the left. It makes no difference to me. I'm just neutral. I'm neutral corner.
I like that.
I trained Danny Price as a pro, and I'm trying to train him and promote him. Oh, mate, you can only do so much. In the end, I just promote now. I do love training kids. I train kids in my garage here in Penania.
Yep.
Yeah, I do love training kids. I've got a passion for training kids. I love kids, and I love training them in boxing. I just did about 3 kids this afternoon. Went over to the park, went back and did some punches, had them moving around with each other. But I just love boxing as a whole. Then I go off and do my boxercise classes. The COVID-19's knocked that for 6, but hopefully I've been doing this boxercise now for 24 years at the local Reesby YMCA. 24 years I've been there. It's been a long time. Mate. It's not as good as it used to be. I got this boxercise name going all these years ago, and now everybody's doing it. It's good. It's good for fitness. That's all it is, fitness.
Talk to us about the importance of the PCY, is it?
YMCA.
So talk to us about the YMCA, yeah, because you've been there for 24 years.
Yeah, YMCA, I've been down there, but the PCYC's, Police Citizens Youth Clubs, I was at Bankstown with a great old trainer called Freddie Braddock.
Yep. And
I ended up going to Newtown PCYC for a year with Johnny Lewis. And before that, I even started at Belmore PCYC in 1985. Oh. I'll never forget my first trainer, George Azule, little French bloke. He'd be dead now. Had 5 fights under him. And then I found the best trainer ever, Freddie Braddock. And then I ended up with Johnny Lewis, and also had Eddie Forty as my trainer as well. You never forget them guys. They looked after you. They had your back.
100%. It's so important, the relationship of a fighter and a coach and the trust that you put in them. It's phenomenal because it goes a long way, doesn't it? And it's lessons that have stuck with you till today. It sure does.
It sure does. I mean, this trainer, we lived in each other's pockets, me and Freddie Braddock, for 10 years. You know, I'll never forget this guy. He was just not a trainer to me. He was a father figure as well.
Yeah, see, and that's the relationship that a lot of people get when you go into boxing gyms, especially when they're in it for the good reasons. Like people like Paul, he's a promoter as well. But believe you me, if you get to know the fella, he'll keep you under his wing. He'll make sure he looks after you. And there isn't a person that isn't looked after on a Paul Nasari show. Tell him, Paul.
Mate, neutral corner looks after the fighter the best they can. You can only do your best. Mate, at the moment, I've got 2 boxers living with me. I've got Tyler Blizzard, a little bantamweight, he's living with us, and George Webb-Rose from Wodonga. He's living with us until he finds a place close by to the gym he's going to train at. So,
talk to us about any of the 2 fighting on the card.
Yeah, both boys are on the card now. Yeah, both of them. Tyler Blizzard, trained by Jeff Fennick. He's fighting Harrison Winters. Now, Tyler Blizzard put on a good display on a no limit show a couple of months ago when Harry Garside won the Australian lightweight title against Matip.
Okay, yes.
Tyler was on that. He fought Daniel Harwood. It was a great little 4-rounder. Now he's having his second pro fight, Tyler Blizzard, against Harrison Winters at Reesby Workers on the 2nd of July. And George Webb-Rose, he was a good little amateur fighter. He's taken on Riley Powers, trained by Aaron Bailey at Campbelltown PCYC at Super Middle.
Wow. How many rounds are they going for?
They're going for 5 rounds. They're going to do 5 threes.
5 threes. Wow. So that's a bit of a step up there.
All these guys who go to bed, they're staying up too late. I said, look, mate, you got 2 weeks to go. Get in the bed.
Hey, Paul Nasari, there's no shortcuts and Paul's in town. Talk to us about the Thailand trip. How did you boys go in Thailand? Yeah, Jeff Fennick. What's going on in Thailand?
Mate, they were there on training camp. Hand and ended up fighting Rodney Williams' fighter. He was there on a training camp before. It was great. Tyler Blizzard was there too. Tyler Blizzard ended up staying with me for another week because he was going to fight and then his fight was off.
Yeah.
So for another week, and when we're on the plane coming back, Tyler says to me, "Hey, Paul, I'm from Tasmania. I was going to go back to Tamworth, but mate, if you got any room at your place in Panania?" We went, "Not really, mate." Anyway, 2 months later, he's still here.
He's the guy. That man, mate. You're the man of the people, Paul.
You hear the front door opening every morning at 5:30. You go, "Geez, they're going for a run." It, mate, brings back memories. They're running the streets like Nasari did back in the day. I've lived here all my life.
Mate, what a legend, Paul. Honestly, you're a champ.
Have you got a running program? I said, "Mate, just walk out the driveway, go left or right and start bloody running, pal, and come back in 20 minutes at least."
What a legend, mate. To get out in this cold as well, geez, is the dedication. Yeah. People don't understand it. It's something different. And that's why you got to go out and support the shows and appreciate the fighters because they put their blood, sweat, and tears in, and you only see them for 24 minutes or 10 or 20 minutes, but they put months and months and years in the bank.
All the dancing's done behind the curtains in the lead up to it, mate.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to us about Australian boxing, Paul. It's in a really good position at the moment. We got Michael Zarafa, mandatory for a world title. You got the George Kambosos. You've got a lot of up-and-coming prospects. We've got Brock Jarvis is headlining a card now against Perillo, isn't it?
Liam Perrell and Brock Jarvis, it was announced today. What a great fight. Aussie boxing's gone from here to here. It's at an all-time high. It's just no limits of putting on great shows. Angela, every promoter's putting on great shows. It's great. Fighters are wanting to fight each other now. It's great. It's good to see. It's 100%. When you see a good show in Perth or you see a good show on TV up in Queensland, wherever, it's a reflection on boxing right across the map of Australia. It'll bring people back through the doors again. And that's what's happening now. People are coming back through the turnstiles wanting to see a good fight.
100%. But how does boxing in this country stay at this level and get to the next? Because we are struggling in certain parts for crowds. Justice Hooney, yesterday, they didn't sell as much tickets as advertised. How do we keep these boxers going? Because even if you look at No Limit, they've gone down the route of the NRL or the entertainment route to attract and uplift stars like Tim Tszyu. They're going big on Liam Wilson. They're making sure that they're going. We've got Hass Hamden is on the cards as well with No Limit. You know, how does Australian boxing elevate the boxers and do well by boxing?
Get them to fight each other. The best in each division fight each other. Then the next one comes up and fights him, like they do in the MMA. It's that bloody simple. I've said it a million times, Abbas. You get two blokes with the same ability. I should press the record button, and you put them in the ring, and you've got a good fight.
That's so true. Easy. You said earlier, though, you got people that win certain titles that won't spar certain people because they feel they're above that.
Yeah.
How tough is it matching up fighters as well? Because I know a lot of fighters that are close to the podcast. It's nearly impossible to get them a fight.
It's hard to match them up. You just got to throw names at them. The trainers will say yay or nay, and I'll just keep looking. But there's some good matchups there, but a lot of them, not a lot of them, you got to build up a fighter, and it's good to have journeymen that jump in and do that, but you can't do it every fight. You can only do it so much, You've got to get in there. If you want to be a fighter, you've got to get in there and fight the best. Don't leave it. Get in there and fight the best. You know where you stand then.
100%, Paul. Talk to us about the show, mate. Talk to us about the show. How many weeks away are we? How nervous? What's coming together? Let's go. Let's break this down.
I've got a lot of 4-rounders coming up. It's going to be an action-packed show. There's 10 fights lined up. It's still 2 weeks ago and we've only got 7 guys registered. But we'll pull through. Yeah, I've got a lot of debutantes. When the amateurs turn pro, they come through me because I've matched them up quite a bit. Let's just go through it. There's an amateur there called May Solomon. Her and Chloe Gretsch fought twice. Now, May's a good little fighter. She's going to fight John Wayne Paz girl called Arlie Jensen from Queensland. Now, this is going to be a ripper of a fight over 6'2". So May Solomon's making a pro debut on a neutral corner show. It's going to be a great fight. There's another kid there from the same gym, Jordan Castellaris from Darkside Boxing as well. He's making his professional debut on the card against a John Jim Park that's had a couple of pro fights. There's a Tonga, who's trained by Steve Saris in Wollongong, making his pro debut. Look out for this kid. He's a big hitter. But he's fighting a Queenslander called Dane Ouch, and it's 2-1. That's going to be a great fight. Albert Nolan, 3-0. He's going to fight Chris Oliver from Queensland. This is a rematch. I've got a New South Wales bantamweight title. Rosario, Rosario Marshall's taking on Sarah Watt from Canberra. That's for the New South Wales title. There's another big fella from Campbelltown, Bulldog Jim, Livingston Famali. He's taken on Antonio Televi from Bondi Boxing. Two big heavyweights making their pro debut. Tyler Blizzard, he's having his second pro fight against Harrison Winters, making his pro debut from Total Line, trained by Mark Retch. As I said, George Webb Rose making his pro debut against Riley Powers. Both pro debutantes. One's from Wodonga, Riley Powers. It's just a great card. There's Nakasona, trained by Tommy Lambert. He's fine. I'm trying to match up Danvers Kashiria, trained by Ben Sava, which is a good action-packed card. I had to separate the two cards. I was doing a pro-am, but there's so many pro fights that want to fight. I've had to separate them, and I'm a glutton for punishment, Abba, so I'm putting on an amateur card the very next day at the Arena Sports Club in Laguna. There's about 22 fights matched up now, but as I said, you've got to match up 50 amateur fights, so you end up with 20. That's what happens.
Yeah, it's a tough gig in the boxing world, man, and the promoting. Talk to us about one of the heavyweights. I've forgotten his name, but he went viral for calling out Willie Mason. Is he on the card?
Which one was that? Who was that? Willie Maceo?
No. He had a bit of a scuffle back in the day. I'm trying to find it. He had a bit of a back with Willie Mason, the rugby league player. He called him out on social media.
Yeah, I remember that. You love this calling out stuff, don't you, mate? Eh?
Yeah, mate. Listen, it's not that I love it. I've tried to get it. I'm actually calling myself out under the bus here. I'm trying to find his out.
I can't remember who we called, which fighter it was.
If I'm not mistaken, I saw it on your page. I can be mistaken, though. So I'm going to go through the page now, and I'm going to see who you've matched up. And if I can recall looking, it's just been, it's been that type of night, Paul. I can't find it.
Take your time, mate. I've got it all night.
So you're telling me your relationship with Jeff Fennick. Let's talk about the relationship with Jeff, because Jeff is a Hall of Famer. He's a multiple-time world champion in multiple weight divisions. He sent a message to the Socceroos to empower them and get them to the World Cup. How inspiring is Jeff? Does he always keep that energy? Talk to us about your relationship, how you guys get along.
He's just a good knockabout bloke, Jeff. He's just a good mate. He's a mate. He's a good mate to everybody. He's a good bloke deep down. He really is. Matey, as I said, he helped my career. Hopefully, he'll jump in the commentary box on the fight night. You ask him something, and he literally comes good. But he's a busy guy. He really is. As I said, he trains Tyler Blizzard, that's living with me, and he can't be there all the time. So I've done a bit with him in the garage here and there. But mate, he's just a good knockabout bloke. Had a great time with him in Thailand, training wise and what have you. It was good. And went out and had a few drinks during the night. Was just a good knockabout bloke, mate, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, no, look, it's especially because I'm really close with Hass Hamdan, and I see the relationship that he has and the opportunities he affords. And this is before anything that I've ever done. I've known Hass for a while. It's really refreshing to see someone like Jeff give back to the next generation and how he cares for Brock and how he cares for his fighters. You'd see it more than anyone.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it's great, eh? I mean, Jeff trained Nate a hand and Hass's father. Now he's training his son, you know, and look at a copper at the PCYC Newtown was Pat Jarvis. Brock wasn't even born then, and Jeff ends up training his nephew. It's unbelievable how things turn around, isn't it, mate? Really?
It's crazy how the world turns in circles. Yes, you know Nader Hamdan. You see after the fight, Nader was ready to go, mate. He hasn't thrown him in a while, but it wasn't far off it.
Yo, Rock, yeah, it was good. Give him a shove. That was Trent Girdham. Yeah, it was a good fight, wasn't it?
It was a good fight. Listen, has showed a lot of character to come back, and he ate a big one in the first round, and then he won every round after that. It's good to face some adversity. It was a good fight. They both matched up well. They had good records. We got to see more of that. It's disappointing to see how hard it is to match Haas up.
Oh, he's hard. He's hard to match up. You know, a lot of fighters are hard to match up, and he's one of them. But full marks to Trent Girdham for taking the fight. He's a good fighter too. Jeez, he's going to go on and do some good things in boxing as well. Trent, can't wait to see him fight again. That was a great fight, mate. It was great to see, and it was on TV for the world to see, which is good.
100%. And I've had Nader on the podcast. I've seen and grew up around Nader as well. To get that fella out of the ring angry, I've never seen it like that. He was ready to go. I got to say it again. I'm going to get him on the pod. I'm going to do a segment with him. Mate, I hadn't seen the Lionheart get that passionate, but it gets like that. A lot of people don't understand. When you have a training partner in there, or when you have someone that you care about, let alone your kid, it's a different emotions. Like, I'm more of a wreck watching someone I like than me being in there myself.
Yeah. I just get a message off Nader every now and again. Yell rock. That's it. That's all I get, mate. Yell rock. What are you up to?
Mate, he hasn't told you come down to Brighton and have some breakfast or something?
Yeah, I've gone for I keep meaning to catch up. I've been out there 2 or 3 times in the past, and I'm due to go out there again, but just too busy these times. So it's great. We go for a walk along the promenade there, and then go and have some brekkie. I make sure he shouts. You know?
Mate, you know the go, Paul. Yeah, he's one of the mayors in Brighton. Whenever I'm in Brighton, it's only a matter of time to see Nader.
Exactly.
No, legend, Paul. Listen, Paul, it's been an honor and a pleasure having you on. Talk to the people now about the show. How are we going to get them out there? They're in to see great nights of professional boxing, amateur boxing. How do you support Neutral Corner? How do they get behind the show? It's tickets. It's Smithy's TV, and what else can they do?
Well, it'll be a good walk-up crowd on the night. A lot of local. It's when I promote at Revesby, it'll be a great crowd because I fought there 3 times back in the day, and they supported me. I've lived in this house all my life, and they supported me back in the 90s when I fought there, and they'll still come and support me as a promoter, and they'll know I'll put on good fights because I've grown up here. And it'll just be a good fight night. It really will. I've got Kiwi Kev and Shazza from Household is going to do some entertainment there. I'm going to have some sexy girls to open up the shade doing a dance. I can't tell you what sort of dance it's going to be yet.
Mate, what do you mean? We're going to have kids there, Paul. It's R18 now you've gone.
No, it's not. It's going to be a good opening to the show.
Paul Nasari, mate. He's got his tricks.
10 pro fights at this stage. It's 2 weeks ago, yeah. You can buy tickets, go on my Facebook page and go. You can buy them online in the gallery. Gallery's straight up the top there. Have a look in the boxing ring. There's 158 seats up there. That's half full, and you can buy tickets on the floor. There's 6 rows of 30, or you can stand up and walk around. And there's VIP tables. You go through me to the VIP tables. So if you want to go, you can just walk up on the night or go on my Facebook page and you'll see the link everywhere.
100%. And tell the people how important it is to support Australian boxing, support the next up-and-comers by purchasing tickets and being in their corner, because it goes a long way to getting the sport up where it should be.
Well, when these fighters hear the cheer of the crowd, it just spurs them on for bigger and better things. You know, it gives them that determination to go that little bit extra harder, and I will pull a good crowd there because it's in Revesby.
Mate, I'm telling you, the last card that you done, where was it again, Paul? Was it Bankstown?
Yeah, Bankstown Paceway.
Mate, I'm telling you.
4 kilometres away from me. Revesby Workers is just a kilometre up the road. The closer I promote the home, the more people that come.
Mate, I'm telling you, it was chocolate blockers. It was packed. It was action packed. The card was stacked, as you would have seen, because it was on my Facebook page, it was on Smithy's TV. mate. The people got behind it. The fights turned up. If you have nothing, you can rock up on the door. You can buy tickets where on the door there's people selling tickets. You want to support the fighter, support boxing, you buy beforehand. Get in contact with Paul. Get on his show. It's one not to be missed. We've got. Look, I'm looking forward to Daniel Carr again, man. He's a very slick boxer. I like how he goes. Hopefully the gas tank is there, so it's not closer than it should be. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
He's still on the card. Trust me, he's one to watch. You know, hearing from Paul as well, he's a good amateur. He took any fight and he comes to fight. Believe it or not, Daniel Carr. I believe he's must see TV, especially in the boxing, because he's a slick boxer, but he puts himself in there. You know, he can do it from the outside all night, if you ask me, but he loves a dogfight, and it sounds like he's in for another one.
And there's another fighter to look out for, a guy called Ryan King. He's based in Las Vegas. He's from Central Coast. Tapa Patea was training him. Now he's under the guidance of Wayne McCulloch. That's why Wayne McCulloch's going to be in the crowd. He's going to be in his corner, a Hall of Famer, former WBC bantamweight champion. Wayne McCulloch will be there looking after Ryan King. So he's a heavyweight making his pro debut. So look out for that prospect.
So Ryan King, that means he's training under a world championship caliber athlete with his teammate. So that means that the caliber of a fighter that he is a lot to be watched here. So people, you got to get out there and see, because you see these guys later on TV. Paul Nasari, mate, they've come through the system. Tell them, Paul.
Mate, be there. Reesby Workers Club, July 2. Doors open at 5 p.m. The first fight will start at 6. Plenty of entertainment with some of the households, Kiwi, Kevin, Shazza. It's going to be in the crowd. It's going to be a great night. Free
mate, and the podcast.
And
the podcast is going to be there too. So you know what? I'm going to get it to a lot of mischief.
You're going to be there as well, mate. You're a galah. We love you being there, mate. I love you being there.
Mate, yeah, listen, I might sneak onto the commentary booth at one stage. I might take the microphone off the ring announcer and tell him, listen, mate, I'm calling the next fight. Set aside. What do you reckon, Paul?
Yeah, jump in the commentary box, do a round or two. Why not?
Mate, we'll see what we get up to, Paul. Look, I don't trust myself, but when we get there, we'll suss out what we're going to get up to. You know, that's how it is.
Just don't go climbing heights again like you did at Bankstown Paceway, mate. I was a bit worried about you getting off that big stand.
Mate, I don't know how to... You know what's something with me, Paul? I'm not good with heights. But then I get excited. I get up there. I'm like, how am I going to get down? That's what happened, actually. I called Sorry?
You're going to be at the press conference on the Monday, the 27th of June?
I should. I'll do my best to get out there. If it's 7:45, like you said, yeah, we'll come out. Why not? We'll come out and support Neutral Corner.
7 p.m. You'll only be working 10 hours a day and get home and see your 3 or 4 babies, mate. How many have you got? 3 or 4? 2 or 3?
Nah, listen, chap. I'm on one, you know, and one is a new aspect of life. I'm not going to say enough, but new appreciation to things, as you would know, Paul. But geez, you know what? I just remembered. The last time I came to the show, Paul, you gave me COVID, mate. What's going on?
Did you get COVID from my show?
Murdered. Oh, look, I didn't know where I got it from, but then I messaged you, I got COVID. And you go, oh, everyone at the show. I go, Paul, you murdered me.
Yeah, that's right. You got COVID, didn't you? Well, I've had a turn of it myself, so.
Yeah, look, thank God the world's moved away from COVID. It didn't shut up for a long time, and normality is good because I like getting out there. I'm a people's person, you know what I mean? You sure are. How did you cope with the COVID? Did it knock you for 6? Mate, it hit me for 6, man. I was coughing out blood within the first 4 hours. Oh, listen, I'm not the healthiest guy on the block, but geez, I didn't know I was that unhealthy. I was gone. I was like, you had more than COVID if you were coughing up blood. Man, I called the hospital. Apparently, it's part of the COVID bull crap. Listen, the COVID killed me. A couple of days in, and then my family are calling me, mate, go to the hospital. I'm like, listen, I'm fine. No, I'm staying at home, lying down. You know, I don't like being sick, but I don't like the hospital more. I just felt tired all the time, and I had the shivers for one night there, and I woke up in the middle of the night. This finger was just going berserk, and I just put that down to the COVID. I don't know what it was, but this middle finger, it was doing that for about 3 minutes. I couldn't stop it. Yeah, man, the COVID, it's a weird one, huh? Jesus, I never heard that one. That's a new one. Yeah. Mate, what can we do? But listen, the next show, COVID's gone, so no one, mate, get your tickets. We're not getting COVID, you know. The world's moved forward, thank God. But Paul, are you gonna have electricity? Because New South Wales, it seems like we're not having enough electricity or resources here. What's going on?
Look, I was going to say, just do that when you come in at the COVID sign and you won't get COVID.
Mate,
COVID safe.
Are you going to have COVID safe signs, mate? But COVID's finished, Ching. It's finished. We already got it.
Put it up. Just put it up.
Are they still they're still policing it, huh?
A little bit.
How's the rule for fighters? Because I know that certain promoters don't allow unvaccinated fighters. I can only imagine there's a lot of unvaccinated people that are fighting. Are they able to fight, Paul?
Yeah, it's gone out the window now. You don't have to be vaxxed anymore.
I remember they done Joel Camilleri dirty. He had to get vaxxed the week of his fight. And geez, he told me he felt sluggish the whole week, impacted his prep, impacted his fight night performance. Not that he uses excuses, but they forced the vax on him.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he came on the pod after and he's like, man, he said it months after because he didn't want to take anything away from anything. But yeah, he was one of many fighters that have told me they were forced at that time to take the vax, otherwise they weren't allowed in the venue.
Yeah, it's not a good time to have a vax before you fight.
100%. And that was the second one as well. Apparently that's worse if you get in the Pfizer too.
Yeah.
He's got a big fight coming up as well, Joel.
He sure has. Where is that at again?
Joel be fighting. I think he's fighting on the Gold Coast. I think he's fighting on the upper undercard, the Jai uppercard. He's in a rematch now.
Mm-hmm.
Joel will be rematching. What was his name? The fella that he lost to on a couple of Mazudia.
Kawa Mazudia, yeah.
Mazudia. So yeah, that was a bit of a dodgy decision as well. It could have. Yeah. I don't know how it went away from Joel, that one, especially the judges. You had one judge that seen it 6-2 Camilleri, 6-2 I don't know how to say his surname, the poor fella, and then the third one like just too much fluctuations in the judging that night.
Well, I went on 60 Minutes in 1992 for judging. This fight I had with Scotty Brower from Melbourne, I fought him twice. So the first fight went live across Australia on Sky Channel. And after 12 rounds, the first judge goes 118, 113 for me. 118, I thought I've won this. And then the next judge went identical score, 118, 113 for Scott Brower. And I thought, this is going to be a draw. Then the last judge went 116, 112. So we went on 60 Minutes about how can two judge, it's different views, different angles. How can two judges on the same at the same fight have identical scores for two different fighters? And we went on 60 Minutes and they explained, they were watching it from a different angle, and judge over there seen it differently to a judge sitting over there on the other side. So I don't know.
It happens, mate. It's part of boxing. I love Dana White. Dana White says never leave it to the judges' scorecards. Easier said than done.
Yeah. So when I hear a fighter say, I got robbed, I just know how they feel as well.
So you've been there, done that. That's the beauty of it as well, because it's a tough gig, man. I couldn't imagine, because like I was saying earlier, Dana says never leave it in the hands of the judges. Easier said than done, though, because especially in boxing's an art, and someone like Justice Hooney, the poor fella, one of the greatest heavyweight boxers we've got in this country, technically sound, above board, great stuff. But he's struggling to get his opponents out. So you can't expect someone like Hooney to not leave it in the judge's hands. More often than not, it seems like he's going to go to the judge's scorecard.
Credit where credit's due. Joe Goodall's hard to put away. Hooney, that was a good fight. Does he have to knock everybody out he fights? Geez, he's fought some good fighters, Hooney.
He does. And that's credit's got to go to his team.
Yeah.
But Paul, what can a fighter do in the case of Hooney? Technically, can't be questioned at the heavyweight level. He moves like a welterweight. But when it comes to packing the power behind the punch, is it natural? Are people born with certain powers? Can you train to a certain extent? Because yesterday, watching the fight, Justice was cracking him with shots, and then and Goodwill was returning fire in that situation, because Justice is overextended. He's now able to receive the shot, but he shouldn't be receiving the shot because he's hitting clean. What's going on there?
Look, he's got to plant his feet more when he lands a punch. All your power comes from your feet and up your legs and up your shoulders and down your arms and on the end of your fist. That's where your power comes from, your feet. Maybe he's got to plant his feet a bit more. He'll get knockouts will come, mate. Just give him a go. A lot of people wouldn't agree with that, but hey, Joe, Goodall's a hard fighter to put away. It was a good fight to watch. It was entertaining, I thought.
Oh no, most definitely entertaining. The question was more around, because is this a struggle? Because you know boxing more than others. Amateur boxing to the pros. What mistakes do fighters mostly do in the amateurs, and then what do they have to change once they get to the pros? Because there is a transition in how you throw your shots, isn't there?
Amateur fight is different. It's 3-2s, 3-3s. It's like a 100-meter sprint. It's different to the pros. You can fight 3 rounds, you can fight 4, you can fight 6, you can go 8, you can go 12. You can take your time more as a pro fighter. You can just relax and take your time and pick your shots over 6, 7, or 8. But it's a different ball game altogether. I do believe you've got to do an apprenticeship in the amateurs, at least 15 to 20 fights, and then turn pro. A lot of fighters just go straight in the pros. The pros suit fighters more than the amateurs. I was never an amateur fighter. After 3 rounds, I was just warming up. The pros were always better suited as a pro. Guys like Justin Rousewell, Shannon Taylor, they were good amateurs and good pros. Spike Chaney was a good pro, but I always believe he was a better amateur than what he was pro. It's just different. It's up to the individual. I mean, Bill Alakaway never had an amateur fight. He went straight into the pros. Look how good he's going. It's just different setup for different fighters. Pro fighting.
Chock didn't have an amateur as well.
Never had an amateur fight as well. I've seen him do a couple of exhibitions, but what a good pro fighter he was. It's just different. It suits fighters better to the other. Who knows? I know when I see a fighter, when I see an amateur fighter turn pro, I know how he's going to go. I just know. I'll say, oh, he won't go good as a pro. Or yeah, that kid will go good as a pro. I just know because I've seen him. I've seen him fight.
100%. And I've heard you say many times, styles make fights. So you understand stylistically what they bring to the table, how they can do and impose their will.
There's a good little amateur fighter out there called Chloe Gretsch. She's going to make a great pro. She's had about 18 amateur fights so far. And when she turns pro, look out. The pro style will suit her. I've seen her fight over 3 rounds, and it's just not enough rounds for her. And that's why I'm saying she'll go better as a pro. This George Webrose that lives there, he's going to make a good pro. I just know he will. He really will. He's done his amateur apprenticeship, and he's ready to turn pro on this. Why?
Mate, most definitely. Honestly, Paul.
There's a couple of others there too on the card. Quite a few, mate.
Mate, I love the passion for you know the fighters. You back the fighters. You give them a platform. Neutral Corner is there to make sure that the grassroots of boxing is always strong, always producing. Champion, for final message for all the people, anyone watching, what do they need to know? Reevesby, get behind the initiative. They support Paul Nasari. You've lived there. You've been there your whole life. Talk to the people, Paul.
Reevesby Workers Club on the 2nd of July, guys. You're in for a great night of fights. If you're not, I'll give you your money back. You're in for a great night. Come out and support boxing. There's a lot of young kids making their professional debut. That's what's got me excited. They're going to flourish, some of these kids on this show, I can tell you. Mate. 2 female bouts as well. Female boxing's looking good too in the country. Are you going to let me go to bed soon, mate, or what?
Mate, we're wrapping that up, champ. He's Paul Nasari. I'm the J. You'll see us both at the press conference, at the fight. Get behind it. Neutral Corner, guys.